Okay, today we're going to talk about Guild Wars 2 uh, core build. I'm in Heart of Thorns just to show how well the build does because we all know the enemies in Heart of Thorns are much tougher than that in the regular core game. So let's get into it. Alright, so for gear, I am running Assassin's Gear, Power, Precision, Ferocity with Eagle Runes. I am running Sword Pistol with an offhand pistol, and the sigils are accuracy on the sword, sigil of fire for that flame blast every so often, and energy, so when I switch to pistol it refills some of my dodge. My crit is 64%, so you know, maybe 2 out of every 5 hits is a crit, just guessing. But anyway, so my trinkets, I have a few ascended I bought with laurels from fractals and whatever else. Just go through real quick and show you. Some of them have some vitality and toughness put into them just because it can be a bit squishy. Alright, let's get into the traits. Alright, so first for traits we have Deadly Arts. Stealing inflicts poison. You gain health and damage when you steal. Weaken targets when you poison them, so when you steal you're healing, poisoning, and weakening at the same time, if I can talk straight. Immobilizing a foe poisons them. Striking a foe below the health threshold immobilizes them. So when they're under 50%, you immobilize them and poison them, which also weakens them even more. Then deal increased damage to your target for each condition. That's an extra 2% damage per condition. And once they're under 50% health, it gives you an extra 20% damage. So that all stacks up and works well together. Alright, we'll go into critical strikes for the next one. Critical hit chance is increased while your health is above 90%. We all know in Heart of Thorns that isn't always a possibility, but for when you are, it's an extra 5%. Assassin's Fury, when you gain Might, you gain Fury. Gain Fury when you strike an enemy whose health is below the threshold. Okay, so 90% is the threshold, so as soon as an enemy drops below 90%, you automatically get 4 seconds of Fury every time you strike them. And it also boosts your Ferocity 250. Now, ankle shots, I do this because of the damage increase from your pistols, because my range is pistol, and you can cripple 60% chance on a critical hit, and we crit kind of often on this build, so that works out well. And the cripple also adds to the condition, which also goes up to exposed weakness, which will give us an extra 2% damage. Now, gain increased critical damage against foes whose health is above the threshold. Alright, 10% boost on your damage when they're above 50%. So automatically you always get 10% right off the bat. As soon as they're under 50%, you gain 20% from Executioner up here. Now, no quarter. Landing a critical hit while under the effects of Fury increases the duration of Fury. Gain increased Ferocity while under the effects of Fury. So, we've got down here, we get Fury every time we hit them under 90%, and every time we get Fury, it increases the duration, and we also gain that extra Ferocity for critical damage. Now, down to Trickery. Stealing gives you 2 initiative, which helps. It always helps to get some back, because thieves go through it pretty quickly. When you steal, you gain Fury, Might, and Swiftness for you and your allies. Your maximum initiative pool is increased by 3, so that it enables you for an extra strike or 2 compared to if you didn't have this trait line. Now, I took this for tricks gain reduce recharge and remove a condition, just because for 14.5 seconds I can gain 4,800 health, which is a pretty quick heal. So once you start getting beat up, you can heal, you kite around, and you can heal again before you're wiped out, unless you're against a champion. Then you got to be a little more trickier. Okay, increased damage and conditions per initiative spent. Steel gains a recharge time. That's what I am glad about this one for. And the same goes for this one. The daze is only 1 second. It's not really a big thing unless you're doing like PvP, but this is a PvE build. So the 20% recharge on the steel is why I took it, as opposed to the 5 seconds of confusion that causes them damage. And the reason why I did that is for 20 and 3/4 seconds is all it takes for your steel to recharge. It poisons them, dazes them, you gain fury, might, swiftness, extra initiative, and a good amount of damage. So it all works out pretty well. Now, because we know the enemies out here are a little bit more rugged than most places, we're just going to go around and smack a few of them and kind of show you how it works. Alright, jump into steel, dodge back, hit number 3, run it back to back. As you can see, just a couple of hits. Your initiative's already refilled, and it works out pretty good. Alright, stop that guy in his tracks because we don't have a steel ready. That's all it took for him. Alright, now we'll go see if we can find something else to attack here. I think that guy cleared out some of the enemies I wanted to use for this video. Thanks a lot, whoever you are. Okay, well, I'm not going to face that champion over there on my own. Now let's go over here, and sometimes these critters can be annoying, so...
Time to do some real damage.
Throw a cripple on him. And the flame burst eats him down before he can even get close to you. So, I mean, most of the time you can run back to back with initiative and you can get as high up as, on the test golem, I've gotten up to 50,000 just running back to back. And that's just without any dodges or anything else. So, it's a pretty good build. I mean, if it works in Heart of Thorns, I'm really sure it's going to work in the core. I can test that out at another point, but my core build was not strong enough to come in here and survive because Thief is squishy. So I decided to try to make a budget PvE build for people with only core skills that want to be able to do lots of damage. You're a little squishy, but if you stay on your toes, you should have no problems at all. So hopefully somebody found this useful. Keep in mind one last thing I want to mention in case I didn't before. I'm running exotic gear, so not top of the line, not super expensive. You know, we're not doing ascended here or legendary or anything like that. It's all budget based on what you can afford. So just throw me some comments if you like the build or if you have some suggestions you'd like me to try out. And in the meantime, I'm going to go beat up some more stuff because, let's face it, Thief is fun. Alright. Cheers.